everybody. I'm Kevin Baugh. I lead the Computer Security Incident Response and Penetration Testing teams for Sikich, and I'm here to talk to you for Security Awareness Month about putting security first. So let's talk about how to get started. And the biggest thing to kind of understand is until recent years, a lot of small and medium businesses weren't big targets for attackers because there weren't easy ways for attackers to make money. But in the recent years, that's changed with ransomware and cryptocurrencies, and basically everybody is a target for these attacks nowadays. And the attacks have changed in that same vein because the attackers can now make money off these small and medium businesses. They're using sophisticated attack techniques, techniques that used to be reserved for nation states or big organizations, but using them against, kind of small mom and pop, one or two employee or just small businesses. And, it gets pretty scary. Like how do small businesses protect against, these aggressive, sophisticated attacks? Well, there is good news on that front. And the good news is, you don't need, sophisticated techniques to protect. You don't need expensive tools. You don't need to, kind of change everything. It's much more to start with, just focusing on the fundamentals and doing them well. Each of the things I'm listing here are things that we saw gaps during incident response engagements, mostly for ransomware, that if organizations had these things in place and kind of taken good care of them, they would have prevented or significantly limited the impact of the attack. So good examples here: patch management. Fundamental, we've been talking about applying security patches for a lot of years, but we still see organizations that are missing security patches, and in the last year, we've seen some pretty significant new vulnerabilities in mature software like Microsoft Exchange, like firewall vendors, like the Apache web server. All of these are things that you would expect to be mature and secure by now, but companies are getting breached because of unapplied security patches that of vulnerabilities just in the last year. Next one is antivirus. We all know that we should be running antivirus, but again, during attacks we see where companies aren't running good antivirus. They're maybe just running a variety of different things that they bought off the shelf or that came with the computer. They aren't keeping it up to date. They don't make sure that it's on every computer and all the bells and whistles are enabled. So really getting a good commercial endpoint antivirus or endpoint detection and response suite, making sure it's on every computer, having centralized management will go very far to stop today's ransomware attacks. Passwords, multi-factor authentication. Most breaches we see today still involved compromised passwords, compromised user passwords, stolen admin passwords. And if we can, get people to use strong passwords, we call them passphrases, like 16 plus character passwords. That'll stop most kind of cracking, password guessing, password reuse attacks. And nowadays, every interface that you have that employees might log into that faces the internet just has to have multi-factor authentication, whether it's their email from the internet, whether it's VPN or RDP or other remote access, even like HR and things like that, looking up your payroll should really have multi-factor authentication because attackers are attacking all those external interfaces. Limiting admin access. This is a real big one for these ransomware attacks. The attackers get a little foothold. Through a phishing attack, they'll get a workstation, they'll guess a password or find one online or something and just get into the network a little bit, but they aren't admins then. But then we see organizations with a lot of people who, are sharing an admin password, a lot of admin accounts that don't need to be admin accounts, and the attackers latch onto these and are able to steal those passwords and start taking over the network and doing real evil things. A good real evil thing that we're seeing that they're doing in today's ransomware attacks is hunting down your backups and deleting them. So people don't think about this, but it's really important that your backups aren't only just reliable, that they get run every night and that they're there, but they're protected from deletion. Great way to do this is putting your backups in the cloud or putting them something offline like a USB drive or a tape that's not connected to the network. But yeah, keep the attackers from deleting your backups. And finally, user awareness. It feels like we beat this to death, but it's still a really big deal. If you can start sign up for a phishing awareness service where the service sends your employees a phishing attack once a quarter, that goes really far in teaching your employees to look out for these phishing attacks that come at them today. They're pretty sophisticated and they need to be wary of that. And all these things, they're the basics, but if you do them, you really, really, really reduce your exposure to these ransomware and similar attacks. Any questions, please reach out to us here at Sikich. Thank you.